African farmer, we are nowhere near, production, post-harvest losses, storage issues. How can we get out of this and ensure that we don't go anywhere near farming in Nigeria?
I would say the private sector needs to come in. And, in the last 2 years, the private sector, they've been primed to coming into the sector, and they've started. The private sector needs to play a very significant role. They're coming in. However, the platform in which they need to ride on is not readily available, from government. Government is just supposed to make that platform for them. However, having said that, the business of entrepreneurship is for you to see gaps and step into it. So what I fault government on is that government is not saying, come, you can do 1, 2, 3. This is how we will support you. So get involved. And the private sector is also bringing beautiful ideas from abroad to copy and paste here, while the infrastructure facilities is not, even the human capital to manage these businesses is not available. So I see private sector coming in with ideas and not trying to do due diligence before they start this project. So they all lose their money.
So that issue of disconnect, he talked about disconnect between the Ministry of Agriculture and Water Resources. So the disconnect still exists even between the private sector and the public sector.
Yes.
So how do we bring that connection back? Because at the end of the day, if from the 60s till date, Nigeria is still not food sufficient, food secure, and we have so many farmers, we're in trouble.
Well, I think the fault really is from the private sector and not the government, because we can predict government. We can. You know that, okay, if government says we want to do this within 6 months, it's likely to take 2 years. So it's the private sector that will do the due diligence in doing the business plans. They have expertise in this, but getting the right people to do business plans that are practical and not some balloon projects that will be gotten from the internet. They do what I call Google farming. They Google all the details, package it together, give the investor, and it's not practical. So I think the private sector needs to get involved in beyond engaging the sophisticated consulting firms to say, okay, what's working? One thing I say, because I worked a lot with the rural farmers, especially in the southwestern part of Nigeria, is come rain, come shine, these farmers have not left farming, even in poverty. So they have details, they have information, but when the people who have the finance wants to run the project, they overlook the knowledge and the experience that these people have and think, oh, they just, put everything in a way that they're doing instead of tapping into their knowledge. That is what has helped me. The road has been rough. In the last maybe 8 years, it's, smooth. But you need to embrace the knowledge, what we call now, some institutions in Netherlands, it's field to research, to lab, and not lab to field. So the private sector needs to know that the rural people have the knowledge they need, get the data, work on it, develop a plan, and move on.
Okay, Shedrack, the last Minister of Agriculture, they started something where the local farmers, or we heard that farmers were given phones by which they could stay connected. They said that was some level of technology being infused into this. But I'm looking at how can we move beyond this point. Every university in Nigeria, or almost every university, has a department or faculty of agriculture where they are supposed to be studying agriculture, doing research. Are we using our research institutions well? And how do we tie all of this? Private sector, public sector, financing, and practicability?
No.
No.
No, not at all. But before I go further in answering your question, I want to disagree with my young brother there by telling him that you cannot shave a man's head in his absence, his hair in his absence. The man must sit in a barber shop for you to shave his hair. So the private sector cannot operate in a country or in an environment where the government is supposed to provide an enabling environment. For instance, the man in the Northeast have not been able to hold on to urea since for the past 6 years, because urea has been seen to be used as an instrument for making bombs. So he could not get input. Now, is it the private sector man that will have to provide a right policy or programs to get the input to, the fertilizer, as simple as fertilizer to the man in Northeast? Now, we've been recycling seedlings that we had since 1976, Samaru 76 and Samaru 74, which is for our cotton. Now, because of our cotton has gone down, the 16 textile companies in Kaduna that we have today are nowhere to be found. You and I today bring in 6 containers of jeans from Bangladesh. Government alone took out Bangladesh out of third world country. So if you are going to exclude government from this blame and or from these circumstances or the quagmire we are, then I think we're not being fair to the private sector. And at the same time, I believe we're not being fair to the women, to rural dwellers that have been responsible in putting food on the tables of Nigeria every single day. Ineta, it would be nice for you to know that every single day, exception of Sunday, 15 billion naira worth of food is consumed in Lagos every single day. 500 naira multiplied by 25 million people that comes in and leave Lagos is a lot of food. 212 trucks of cows are consumed in Lagos every single day, and nothing comes back, not even the skin. And don't forget that once you consume a full cow, you've displaced 54 children from school sandal. The value chain and the programs to develop a value chain in our livestock is if our neighbors, Niger, Mali, Gbogbo de la So, and Gas, if they shut down their borders, we probably will not have livestock to eat. So who is fault? Is it the private sector? When a nation, the only tools a nation have is a hammer, then every problem becomes a nail. Coming back to your question, it is the responsibility of the government to come up with a policy, strong policy. In America today, I don't want to mention America, advanced economy and all that. I want to talk about countries like Ivory Coast, Ghana, where
we need to go on a quick break.
First of all, budgetary in agriculture is 12% of the entire whole budget.
Shedrack, can you just hold your thoughts? We'll go on a quick break. When we'll come back, you pick up from the examples you wanted to lay out. Please don't go away.